Welcome to a special edition of Prop Shop. That means Andy Lang, the proptologist, is in the house. We're talking all things Super Bowl props. Our friends from the Westgate put out a packet that's like a phone book last night, Andy, around 9 o'clock. You have just completely, I'm trying to think of a doctor term, but we're going to go with dissected because you kind of look like a scientist too, through this extensive set of props. I've only gotten a few props that I have circled. But I'm going to wait until Super Bowl Sunday because I like the under. So before we get into the 9 prop bets that you have, let's kind of dive in and kind of tell me how you go through such an extensive literal notebook, phone book, whatever you want to call it, of props.
Yeah, I have to separate props into two categories, and this is what I recommend for everybody. The props that are for fun, and the props that are legitimate to help build your bankroll. There's a million props, and there's a really fine line between, I like this prop because I think it's great value or I think it's a really good pick. And I'd really like to root for that one in the Super Bowl when I'm watching with my buddies or, my family. So when I look at props, I just put them into two categories. Yes, this is one I'm going to bet with real money. And then this other one, I'm just going to have fun with it. And you lower the unit size big time. Maybe just give yourself like 1 or 2 units to split between the fun ones. And then you have your legit ones out of your normal part of your bankroll. Kelly, it's just one game. I mean, realistically, we're looking at from a business standpoint and building a bankroll. This is one football game. The money spends the same. So we want to have fun, but we also want to be responsible with our bankrolls.
So after like 7 Viva Tequila Seltzers, throwing a nickel on heads, just not that responsible?
It's not that responsible. I don't know what your bankroll is, but I doubt that's a very, very small percentage of your bankroll. But there are ways to make money off this game, and there's ways to have fun. So today we're focusing on having a lot of fun with this one.
Having a lot of fun, making some money, and that's what Andy does over at wagertalk.com. Up 130 units since last Super Bowl. That makes him number one in profit at wagertalk.com. Andy, let's get into some of these prop bets.
Thanks. Number one last 2 years as well. So we're doing this really, really good, Kelly. Yeah, we've been on top of the leaderboard for a while. Okay, let's start with Kenneth Gainwell. First reception over 4.5 yards. He doesn't get a ton of catches, but when he does, Kelly, he always goes over. He only has 3 catches in the playoffs, but they're for 10 yards, 8 yards, and 8 yards. So he gets open on these screen passes, these little dump offs. When 8 is your lowest total in the playoffs, and the Philadelphia Eagles are definitely looking for different ways to attack this Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think Gainwell gets loose for one here, and all we need is one catch to go over this one. So I'm going to take over 4.5 yards for his first reception.
As I mentioned, Andy, I like to kind of sit back and wait. Usually, if I think the game is correlated to an under, I think, all right, here comes that influx of public money, and they're only betting one way, and we know that's overs. So talk to me about some of these unders. If you're looking, do you really think there's value in waiting?
Oh, 100%. These lines are only going to move towards the over. So yeah, if you're an under better, you're waiting until like an hour before the Super Bowl. Sometimes there might be a very popular play that might be an under. That's why it's not a bad idea to keep your eye on social media and keep your eye on the lines as the week moves on. Try and figure out which way the line is going to go. But yeah, if you're betting overs, you need to get in early. You're betting unders, just be patient, wait.
So a lot of things that people like to do is put together a same game parlay. And that makes it a little bit more fun. Obviously, it makes it a lot harder to make money. But one of the most popular things for same game parlays is anytime touchdown scorer. You have one for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think people realize. I think this would surprise everyone. Kareem Hunt has scored a touchdown in 4 straight games, and he's plus 130. He's been their goal line back, Kelly. Pacheco, to me, does not look healthy. Maybe with this extra week rest, he has a little bit more pop in his step, but right now, Kareem Hunt is their goal line back, and we've seen the Chiefs run the ball in when they get inside the red zone. And let's be honest, Travis Kelce is their biggest wide receiver once they get inside the 10. Xavier Worthy is about speed. They just don't have that big time, big body outside of Kelce. So when they get inside, Kareem Hunt's been their best goal line back. So plus money at Kareem Hunt to score a touchdown. Yeah, that's my favorite anytime touchdown scorer.
Now, this one's a little too juicy for my taste, but maybe you would also suggest putting it in one of those same game parlays. I've never seen score 4 straight times. I've always seen score 3 straight times, but talk to me why you think 4 is worth a bet here. Minus 360. Andy, my poor contrarian heart.
That's a parlay piece. I've never seen score 4 straight times, but I'll take the no. Yeah, the spread is 1 point. These two teams are really evenly matched. I find it hard to believe that one team is going to rip off 4 straight scores without it being, interrupted here. The Eagles can run a lot of time off the clock. So can the Chiefs. I just don't see this being a huge shootout where a team is going to rip off 4 straight scores. Yeah, it's juicy. It's minus 360, but to me, this is a great parlay piece.
Yeah, I like the 3 straight scores in a lot of the college football playoffs. They hit in almost every single one of those games, but 4 seems a little steep. Let's kind of pivot here, Andy. This is one that I thought was really interesting. So you can bet on the first turnover of the game. Tell me why you like the fumble plus 130.
Yeah, first turnover of the game fumble, you're getting plus 130. It's really simple, Kelly. These guys just don't throw interceptions. One of my favorite props is Mahomes to not throw an interception. Kelly, between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, they have gone 17 straight games without an interception. They do not turn the ball over, and they do not throw it to the other team, especially when it comes down to playoffs. It's too important for ball security, so I don't see a quarterback throwing an interception. So if there is going to be a turnover, I think it's somebody that gets a fumble. And don't forget, it could be Mahomes or Hurts that turns the ball over in a fumble. But I'm just eliminating interceptions because 17 games in a row between two of them with no interceptions, that's too good to ignore. I'll take first turnover to be a fumble.
I would agree with you. Patrick has cleaned it up since mid-season and not committing turnovers since. Speaking of Patrick, you have an over that you like for him.
Yeah, it's playoff time. It's Super Bowl time. Patrick Mahomes is going to be running. He had 7 and 11 rush attempts in the 2 playoff games. Kelly, those were his 2 highest rushing totals of the season. So I'm going to take over 5.5 rush attempts. His last 3 postseason games last season, he had 9, 6, and 6. In every Super Bowl that he's played in, he's had 5 or more. Only 1 game in the Super Bowl has he gone under this prop. So when it comes down time to third and long, he's not throwing the ball away. He's tucking and running. It's just too important of a game. It's a Super Bowl. There is no waiting for next week. And we saw 11 rush attempts last week against the Bills. I think he rushes a lot this week. 7 and 11 in playoff games. Can't ignore that. Love the 5.5.
All right. Who is going to throw a pass attempt, not name Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes? I have to know here.
This falls into the category of a fun one. It's plus 160, the number of players to throw a pass over 2.5. I don't know who it's going to be. And Kelly, that's part of the fun. It could be anybody. What if we have a fake punt? What if one of the punters throws it? What if we have an end around to one of the wide receivers? What if we have a Philly special? I can't name you the player, but I just want to have just a little itty bitty sprinkle. That way, if it does happen to hit, I could say, hey, I hit the over 2.5. This clearly falls in the category of a really fun one. Not a big part of your bankroll. But this is a great one to root on throughout the whole game.
That does sound like an awful lot of fun. All right, let's talk about rushing because I think that's going to be the name of the game here. I lean towards the under. If you guys missed, bet on it. There's a ton of good information there about the side and total. A couple prop bets over there as well. You can check it out on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. But this is Prop Shop, so we are specifically talking about the total number of players with rushing attempts here. Let's hear it.
All right, so I'm going to take the total number of players to have a rush at over 7.5, and we'll just take a small sample size last week. So the Eagles in that huge blowout where everybody on the team got a rush attempt for Philly, it seemed like. So they had Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Goddard ran the ball several times, Gainwell, Shipley, and even Pickett got credited with rush attempts because he had kneel downs. And the Chiefs, they really only had 4 guys with rush attempts in the playoffs: Hunt, Mahomes, Worthy, and Pacheco. So let's take out Shipley and Pickett. Let's say those guys don't make appearances because it's not a blowout. That's still 8. So if I just get the usual suspects to come in, I've got 8. And that doesn't include any gadget plays. Maybe they run for Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown on an end around. So when I tally these up, I think we easily get 4 from each. I think Hunt, Mahomes, Worthy, and Pacheco all get one. Hurts, Barkley, Goddard, and Gainwell, I think they all get one. That's all we need to get home on this one.
All right, Andy, you have one prop play left, but before we let you go, tell everybody where they can get your prop plays for the Super Bowl over on wagertalk.com.
All right, our official plays that we will be playing with our own money to build our bankrolls are over Wager Talk, wt.buzz/AL. This will include all props until the Super Bowl kicks off. Kelly, we've turned a profit every week in the playoffs. We've had 10 plays in the playoffs. We've won 8 of them. That's 5 straight winning weeks in the NFL. We've peaked at the right time. Beginning of the season started off miserably, but we have gotten better over the last couple weeks of the regular season and then into the playoffs. So we're streaking really, really well right now. wt.buzz/AL for all of your official Super Bowl props.
We're going streaking, right? I think that's from a movie. All right, Andy, give me your last one. Samaje Perine. I just love to get to say his name because it's actually one I don't screw up. Let's talk about him. You like his receiving yards.
Rinse and repeat. Samaje Perine over 6.5 receiving yards. Kelly's hit this in 14 out of his last 15 games. How can you ignore this streak? He's 16 for 19 on the season. And the only times he's gone under was to start the season. Remember, he was a late addition to this Chiefs team, and then he didn't have a catch against Houston. And Kelly, you've watched these games. The Chiefs, they always have that one designed play that they've saved for Perine when they need it the most. It's on a 3rd and 6 that they need to get. It's on a 4th and 5 that they really need to get. We saw it last week. He didn't have any catches till the very end. They wrote a beautiful play to him. He's sure-handed. The Chiefs trust him. It's scary because he normally only gets 1 catch per game, but it's always such a well-designed play. He's wide open. This number is way too low. So I will gladly take this prop that I've been cashing week in and week out, Samaje Perine, over 6.5 receiving yards.
He is the proptologist at Bump Sports there on X, at Andy Lang Bets on TikTok. He's also going to put out a ton of content on Instagram and TikTok for the Super Bowl, so make sure you guys check him out there. Thank you, Andy, and I hope you cash all of these prop bets for the big game. We'll see you next year on Bet On It.